Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Corey, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. So when it comes to changing a sexless relationship, a lot of you guys take this approach of, let me try and fix this. It's something that is, I need to fix in order for our relationship to grow. And a lot of it is a noble thing. And there's a push from it, if you think about it, from you being a gentleman, being a white knight. But also there's an influence from the fact that you really want to sell yourself so she can actually see everything that you're doing in order to evolve and become a better man. At the same time, there's a part of you that needs, you've got this feeling of having to prove yourself to be worthy of her love. And this is a very terrible dynamic to take. It's part of the process, but it shouldn't be the actual value proposition that you're building, lack of a better term. So you're not building this ultimate man that then she's going to fall in love with, because in order to do so, then within it, there's room for corruption. And what I mean by that is that that's where there's a manipulative side of it. So and I'm saying this because within the Reignited Man, we've got 3 guys that have come from other programs. And the difference between our program to the other ones, and again, the other ones are effective in their own right, but not as effective as ours because we focus on the long-term success. When I say there's room for corruption with some of these other ones, they force you to take the first bit, which is that you take full responsibility for everything that has happened within a relationship, which is absolutely correct. You have to start off with the basis of, where have I fucked up in this relationship? When you start from there, it makes it so much easier then to start being open to solutions. Because again, if you feel like you've got no fault in the relationship or you've got no fault in it, then you put sole blame onto your partner, and then therefore you don't evolve because you don't feel like you've done anything wrong. So there's that bit where you have to take full responsibility for everything that has gone wrong, which is a very good place to start. And then when you do so, then they put you in the place where you have to then start building yourself up to be the guy that she wants to be with. I do agree with some of that to a certain extent, because again, when you start building that, you have to think of what is the impetus for you to do so. And what I mean by that, what is driving you to become that good man in order for her to want you. And a large chunk of it, in fact, a lot of people within a sexless relationship, and I've talked about this in the previous episode, that a lot of you guys are driven by the fact that the interactions that you had with your mom, where she showed you validation and showed you appreciation, and when you felt the closest to your mom, some of you guys was when you were industrious around her. So for example, if you were a very good boy, then she would treat you in a certain way, and that made you feel close to your mom. So it created this dynamic where in order for you to feel validation, for you to feel love, you have to be industrious to do so. So when you get into a program like that, it is massively speaking to the type of person you are, who feels like you need to be doing these various acts in order to win the love and appreciation, acceptance of your partner. And therefore you go down this rabbit hole of then wanting to fix everything. Now, a large chunk of it is that you do all this stuff that is going to make you more dominant, a better leader within a relationship, more attractive, even better financially. On some of the other programs, they actually sort of talk about business and marketing and so on. So it's almost like a mastermind where you become better as a man, decision making. So there's all these really good things. But the flip side of it is the fact that when you're doing all of this, when it's not working, it ends up reflecting on you, and then it puts you in a downward spiral. Now, a lot of these guys that have failed within these relationships or within these interactions is because they've put all of the ways they're acting, all the ways they're behaving into this interaction. That, okay, I'm doing everything I can do to change, to become a better man, and I've done all these things, but my relationship isn't changing, or there's no reflection within my relationship. Now, it's only because your partner is also an entire person who's got an entire worldview, an entire experience, and you can only influence to a certain point. And everything that you, in fact, within your program or any of the people that are within my space, what they're teaching you to do and what we teach you to do is to create opportunities for your relationship to grow. So we're teaching you exactly what you need to do in terms of the way you communicate, the way you show up in the relationship, and the things that you're doing from day to day. You're teaching you on how to create those opportunities for you to grow. Now, you're only presenting the opportunities, because then she has to take the opportunity and say, yes, I choose to take the opportunity and I choose to grow with you. And this is a much more powerful stance when it comes to changing a sexless relationship, because if you view it from that standpoint, it is equivalent to, and I was using rock climbing, and the best way of learning how to rock climb isn't to watch videos, isn't to, coax somebody to doing it. The only way you can learn is actually rock climbing, and you only build confidence around it and comfort around it by actually rock climbing. So your wife has to get to the point where you've rock climbed, you've done all this climbing, you're now the instructor, you're comfortable. Now you're presenting her these opportunities for her to grow. So, okay, this is what you need to do. You need to put the rope here, you need to put your foot here, you need to put your arm here, and you're just presenting those opportunities. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Yes, it's going to be difficult. And it's now an opportunity because you've already gone through those difficult situations already within the coaching. This is what we're doing. We're preparing you to then be able to lead her, to be able to do better. And that's it in a nutshell. If somebody else is telling you otherwise, and I think I've been guilty of this previously, where I say, it's all about just a seduction, you can do that. And I think it was naive for me to say so, because I come from a world where we were in the right environment and we were within those, there were no constraints into how we proceeded from a seduction standpoint. So if I was in a club, or if I was chatting up a girl, there's a lot of things that are happening that are within my favor to move things along. It's a little bit different when you've lived with somebody for many years, because they've built comfort around saying no around sex, and therefore to move them from that place of comfort to a place where they're empowered and our contribution within the relationship, that's a whole different set of skills. And it becomes more about presenting the opportunity for each other. And it's important that you understand that. It's presenting an opportunity. I want to release you today and free you up today and say, it's not your responsibility to fix her, and it's not your responsibility to make her want to have sex. And I'm going to say it again, it's not your responsibility for you to change her. It's not your responsibility for you to make her to want sex. You can only present the opportunities, and it's only up to her to take them. If she chooses not to take them, this then gives you an opportunity to now have a different type of conversation. Why is it that you're not prepared to do so? And if it means that you have to put constraints around the relationship in order for you to protect yourself and for her to figure out where things are going, then you do so. But it gives you the right place to fix the relationship, because you could run off and climb 2,000 times and do good climbing this mountain, and we're still on that climbing mountain analogy. You can do it 1,000 times and be exceptionally good at it. But if she's not comfortable putting on the harness to climb the road to the mountain, then you have to be having a different conversation, and you have to be pushing the relationship in a different direction. And I think it still comes back to what I was saying, I don't know, a few episodes ago, that sex isn't actually the problem. Like, when you think about it, when you strip everything apart, sex isn't actually the problem. I think I was coaching, actually, when I said this, that sex isn't the problem. The problem is these little interactions that you were supposed to have initially when you started dating, and then you sort of overlook that and put it under the carpet, and then just found ways of avoiding having that conversation. And now 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 2 kids later, you're not trying to have the conversation, and it's awkward, it's difficult, and it's not conducive. But again, coming back to my point that it's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is for you to become a better version of yourself, yes. But your responsibility is to take responsibility for all the actions that you've taken that has contributed to the relationship to start failing. And then your responsibility is to get better at that. So how do I show up? Do I show up as a leader? Am I non-reactive to the negativity that's happening around the relationship? Am I empowering in the relationship? Am I kind? Am I courteous? Am I, empowering my children? Am I empowering my wife? Am I doing everything I can to give the opportunities for us to grow as a relationship? And this is one of the things that we talked about last week, that challenges are a necessary part of a relationship, because that's the opportunities where those insecurities, all those negativity comes up, and it's the opportunity to start dealing with, so you can become better versions of yourself. It is evolution within a relationship that is required, and the only way you can experience that evolution within that relationship is by taking on challenges and getting better as you take on those challenges. Now, most people don't do so because obviously people try and avoid, they don't want to grow, they'd rather stagnate, they'd rather delay, they'd rather not have that conversation about it. So I thought I'll try and release you from it. Then a lot of you guys, I know you're doing everything to try and change it, and it feels like you're banging your head against the wall, but it's not your responsibility to change her. In fact, if you take on the responsibility of changing her, you're most likely going to end up being manipulative, and you're going to have short-term success, because eventually, because you've not dealt with the real problem, it's going to rear its ugly head, and you'll be back in the same place over and over again. So it's always better just to do it the right way at the right time. I once we're trying to build a chicken coop, and my granddad told me to dig a foundation very deep, but I was lazy, so I dug it to a certain point. And then I remember we put the concrete down and started trying to build this thing. And then halfway to building this thing, it was just didn't look steady, it drained, and then it was just not steady. Something was happening, and my granddad started looking, and the foundation was not at the right depth. And you could see the disappointment and disapproval that he had of, why didn't you do it the right way? And we had to take it all apart and redo the whole thing again. And it was just twice as difficult and twice as horrible. And this is what will happen if you don't do it the right way. Like I said, it's her responsibility to engage and then be part of it and be collaborative. It's not your responsibility to change her. Your responsibility is to be able to grow and then present those opportunities for you guys to grow together. So hopefully this is a empowering message, and one that frees you from the way you've been approaching things, because it's a very important message, and I thought I need to put that out there, even though I shared it with a coaching client. I thought it's something that you guys need to hear too. So thank you very much for listening, guys. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.